listening to Traumedy, the podcast that helps you take your pain and play with it. I'm Nancy Norton. We're doing a special edition this week for Pride Month. It's Traumedy Pride Edition. I have a special guest here today. We just did this Pride comedy night at the Bug Theater in Denver, and it was wonderful. We had a sold-out show. I will say this, though, because of my age, and I used to be identified as a lesbian, retired after 20 years of service, 3 tours. That is sort of a joke. There's all truth in that. I now identify as a pansexual, and my joke is, of course, bisexual, because I have sex every 3.14159 years. I think I do that joke every episode. It's funny because it's true. So the audience was mostly older lesbians, which I gotta be honest, are not huge Nancy Norton vibe. You know, I am very, very silly. I used to entertain on Olivia Cruise Lines, which were the lesbian cruise line, and the lesbians did not always go with my sillies. However, when I went over and entertained on the RSVP cruise lines, oh my gosh, they would howl with laughter. They were my people. I think it's because I grew up around gay men or gay boys when I was back when I was a gay boy in my high school days. I was in theater, and then my friends were sometimes these gay boys. Like, yeah, I fell in love with a couple of them. It was a very confusing time, and I think the point is the humor that we share is very irreverent and sort of insulting, and so my guest this week talks a little bit about that, growing up in high school and using humor as sort of an armor. It's a fun way of protecting yourself with insult humor. Next week, my shows will be Moms Unhinged shows going across Nebraska. This week, I'm doing a nurse conference up in Breckenridge, Colorado. I'll be up in Breckenridge doing the Nurse Educators Conference. I'm presenting all 3 days of the conference. I'm presenting the power of humor in the morning, and then Thursday evening, I'm doing a comedy show. And then on Friday, I'm doing my workshop, improv team building, applying some of what we learned in the power of humor, and it's called Practicing Playful Presence. I am in the present moment for now. You don't have to do it all the time. Just do it for now, and it's always now. So the point is, that's where the joy is in life, right here in this present moment, not worrying about the future, not borrowing troubles from the past, but joining me right here, right now in the present moment. If you ever get triggered during Traumedy, just take a deep breath. Just do a nice parasympathetic nervous system reset, back to rest and digest. And this episode deals with growing up gay in a small town and feeling like maybe you don't want to be here anymore, and then realizing you're okay. You know, you're more than okay. You're fabulous. So our guest is here to show that. Find me through my website, nancynorton.tv, like television, nancynorton.tv. Here we go, kids. Enjoy this episode of Traumedy, Pride Edition. I'm coming out. Welcome to Traumedy. And my guest this week is a comedian, a short, thick king who is known as the Indigestible Homosexual.
Woo, thank you.
Please welcome Jake L., everybody. Woo!
I know. I'm back
It's like
again.
We've done this before. So listen, I'm going to tell what happened is we have had a series of electronic malfunctions, human malfunctions. I forgot to hit the record button on my Rodecaster. The Rodecaster's not being hooked up to the Zoom well. It keeps toggling. And then we had some clip issues with whatever on the recording.
My treadmill.
Oh, yeah. His treadmill started going. But we were talking about your background. Like, you grew up in Southwest Kansas in a tiny town.
Yeah. No, you're doing great. I mean, 1,500 people. My graduating class was 29.
Whoa. That's a lot of like tight peer pressure at that size. And somehow you were able to start honoring, like at 11 years old, you started getting this like, I'm different than these other guys that I know. Were there any other gay people in your school that you knew of?
That I knew of? No, Okay, gaydar.
Gaydar,
is a thing
yeah.
to some degree.
Okay.
I try to not do that because I don't know, something about it feels icky to me.
Okay.
So I try to like not make those guesses. But I will say that the people that I had like, okay, so one of the jokes that I like to make is that being gay is like playing Battleship. Of course I make it disgusting because that's how I work, but like you kind of get these like signals, and so sometimes you'll sort of like you'll test the waters if there's something there. Of course my joke is about seeing if a guy is gay, and so you're testing the waters to see if he'll go down.
And then what would you say if they did? Because you said you're the indigestible homosexual. Are you more of a aircraft carrier or a destroyer or battleship?
I am whatever I am needed to be in that moment.
Oh, I just was talking about dick size, but okay. Sorry, I was being vulgar. I was like, what?
Ooh, she's getting dirty.
You sunk my whatever. Okay, but you're versatile, is what you're saying.
I'm a very versatile individual.
Okay. Listen, I'm sorry I took it that way, but okay, I thought you were going there.
It was so funny.
No, I thought that's where you were going with the, whatever. Because when you said you indigestible homosexual earlier, you were telling me because
I make him gag. Yes.
Okay.
And I have to say, because you said destroyer, and my mind went to an entirely different realm than penis size. It was like, I will destroy you.
Right. Well, you are a Scorpio. We've covered that. Scorpios, you guys are so like seductive, and then that stinger. Woo! Like you've got those charms, and then come on over.
Absolutely.
But that's that sense of humor too, right? That little barb. And we barb each other, and it's okay. I think it's okay when everybody's playing by the same rules. Mm-hmm. And it's like, this is just for fun. But if you get among somebody else, like now when I'm all soft, I'm like getting an old and softy, and it's like, I wasn't playing like that, Brian. And I pout.
Brian. Apologize.
I have to call him and give him a chance to defend himself, because some days I play like that. You were talking about like parents like not super religious, but also super heteronormative and super like pick and choose the conservative values. And church was like, don't take the Lord's name in vain, go to church. But then sort of other things we did. Like, I think a lot of us in this culture we're all such a bunch of hypocrites anyway.
Oh, absolutely.
But then there's this, so then so if things were working okay for you until they made you shoot a bird. This is going to be weird. This is the rehash of the first 10 minutes.
They're like, what is it about the bird? Yeah, how do I summarize? My dad made me hunt, and I shot a bird, and I came to the realization in real time, talking with you, Nancy, that I think that's what made me gay.
Yeah, but you weren't being serious. You're just saying, we were just going to blame your dad just to mess with him and go, Dad, you turned me gay. Because I'm like, the horror. Just that all of a sudden the gay energy just came through you like, that was a living being that had a life of its own.
I gay gasped. I grasped my pearls. The 22 gauge just fell to my feet.
22 gauge shotgun. Mm-hmm. Do you still have it? You have a shotgun?
Oh God, no. Sometimes, I don't know if you've ever done this, but like if someone gives you a present and you find a way to not get it, that's what I did with the shotgun. Like I just kind of like put it in my dad's display case, and I was like, it looks really cool there.
Oh, smart. See, you're smart. Yeah, you knew how to work it. So
yeah, and then when he's like, oh, when do you want to go hunting again? I'm like, I don't know, I'm really busy.
Yeah, you were just always busy.
I'm 11. I have a very tight schedule.
I'm going to my room to watch Logo. This is where we got cut off. See, we're all caught up.
Yeah, we're back.
We're back. So secretly, you're kind of starting to realize. You were feeling a bit ashamed, like maybe that you were, like you said, you might have been armoring up with this insult humor, but then you felt kind of bad about it. Like, I don't know, did you ever feel like, oh, or did you even know you were hurting people? Because
I don't know, it's so weird. So I think, validating myself, I think that the people that I unleashed the mean to, I think they probably deserved it to some degree.
Oh, no, I get that. I get that. I'm a bully to the bullies myself, which kind of makes me a bully, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah.
But if you hurt me in some way, I mean, it gives me permission. But also, I think I felt so, I guess, powerless. Like, I can't really hurt somebody, really. You know, like, I still kind of feel that way. Like, can I really, my goofy humor, can that hurt someone? But I guess it could. I don't know. I hope. Like you said, I hope it did. Certain people. Yeah, it's I don't know, it's so weird. And the funny thing is that I have spoken with some people, since, graduating and moving away and all that. And a lot of them have said that they couldn't tell that I was like suffering. Like I had put on a real good face, I guess, which is, it's been a story of my life. But they all said it. They were very surprised to hear just how miserable I was and how like alone I felt and all of those things. And then, of course, in my mind, I'm looking back and I'm like, no, I was really mean to everybody. Like, which is not really mean to everybody, but it was mean to the people who I felt like would attack me in some way. Yeah, so doing those preemptive strikes or just counter attacks.
Yeah, and of course the school was so small that two mean people is basically everyone. And yeah, it was a very small school. Everybody knows everybody, and so I think it just kind of amped up a little bit of the vitriol towards them. Yeah,
and when I think about if growing up in a town that size, my hometown wasn't small like that. So when you went to elementary school, you sort of lost a lot of people, then you got new people, and then you went to high school, you got newer people. So you could kind of leave some of the past behind, but I imagine at a town that size, from preschool on, people remember that time you spilt your milk or you peed your pants or whatever it was, that there was, you couldn't what is it? You couldn't get away from whatever that was, some embarrassing thing. I don't know.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, for me, it was my weight. Because when I was younger, I thought probably around the time where I started to realize that maybe I was different is also, I actually believe I was depressed. I think I was a depressed, 10-year-old. But I put on a lot of weight, and then from that point on, I kind of became like the fat kid in class. And I was also really short. Well, I'm still short, but I was short as a kid, and so that was also kind of contributed to sort of the mean things that kids will say to each other when you're really young. That did carry.
Yeah, it's interesting you say you're short. I didn't notice that you were short. Like when you said that, I don't have a memory of that. Like anyway, just so you know. Like when I talked with you, it didn't strike me like I'm talking to a short person now. You know what I mean? Like it didn't. I don't know why I'm saying that. It's like sometimes I talk too much about my lazy eye, and people are like, I didn't even notice your lazy eye, and I was like, I mean, a lot of people do, but it's like whatever. These things become so big in our mind, and your identity. My son is from Nepal. He's shorter, and so he's kind of got an identity as a short guy, and it's an interesting thing how these kind of they just get stuck. Those childhood wounds kind of get stuck a little bit and amplified.
Oh yeah, and that's kind of what feeds into, I would say. I honestly, I don't really try to bring a persona to my my comedy. I really try to be my authentic, very silly self, because I am as obnoxious in real life as I am on the stage, and but like. That is something I've found really healing about my comedy, is that I've been able to take these things that had been kind of painful for me growing up, and I kind of turn them into something that I really enjoy about myself. Like, yeah, I was always called fat, but you know what? I am a short, thick king. I'm cool with that. I love that. I would rather be, 5'7" than someone who's, I don't know, like height-wise, like 5'9" to 6'1". Like, that's garbage height. Like, you're not tall. What is that?
You're just average.
Exactly.
Garbage height. I like this.
We're like,
yeah. Did you do that bit?
Cool.
It is cool. My son, actually, there's a lot of positives to it. You live longer, I'll tell you that. You live a lot longer than tall people. Tall people don't live. I'm sorry, tall people, but you're going to die really soon. No, but
We're coming for you.
I think that pumping the blood up to that, like the gravity,
distance.
Yes, it's got a
heart.
Yeah, sometimes too, they grow so fast that their arteries get thin.
That
But
makes sense.
now I'm really traumatizing tall people right now. Like they're at home going, wait, I'm going to lay down. Go lay down, tall people. You're going to be okay. You're going to be okay. I just think it's like, everything somehow balances out, and I don't know how, but it's kind of cool. And so you play with that. So I'm going to play some clips. You came to my rescue that night. Well, right before I was just like, wouldn't it be cool? We had this sold out show at Pride Comedy Night here in Denver for Pride Fest. I just wanted to have a fun night, get a bunch of LGBTQ people together. Mm-hmm. So we had about 13 of us on the show, all with kind of different styles, different identities. Mine is I don't even know. Is there anything that you did that night that is like, did you do that bit? I can't remember because I was running around in the green room trying to get intro for the next person and stuff. I can't remember what bits you did.
I did one that is about farmers only.
And so is that rooted from your childhood in in the small farm town?
I just like picking on the culture that I kind of grew up in, where I lived. There were a lot of people who I remember so vividly. There was this one individual in I think it was the grade above me, and when he's walking for graduation, and they would announce like, oh, so and so is going to KU, and they're gonna master in economics or whatever thing that straight people do. And this guy's statement was he was going to Kansas State University solely for the purpose of getting a wife.
He said that out loud.
Yes, and I have not let that go since.
That's a friend of yours.
Oh yeah. So that is something that I actually worked into my set to kind of like introduce the whole thing of farmers only. It's filled with these dudes that go to Kansas State University solely for the purpose of bagging a bride. That way they can bring her back to the farm. Over
their shoulder, kind of carry her back like a sack of potatoes.
Yeah, it's very like Seven Brides for Seven Brothers energy.
Oh, right. I remember that movie.
We will be together. I will cause an avalanche. You will stay on this farm.
Oh, my God. That's great. And then they probably are, I guess, when you go back. Is your family all still there?
They are still there. Yeah.
How about your siblings? Are they there in that town or they move out?
Yeah, so for the longest time, everybody in my family, so I have an older brother and I have two older sisters, and so they all lived within just a couple blocks of each other. So like my parents were like 1 block away from one sister, and then that sister was 1 block away from the other sister, and then she was like 3 blocks away from like my brother, and so everybody was in like walking distance, and then there was me who was like, I'll see you guys in a year. Yeah.
And when did so you left and you were like the black sheep, I guess. I'm guessing.
Oh, 100%. Yeah.
Or the rainbow sheep.
The rainbow sheep.
But when did you get out? As soon as you were emancipated, like as soon as you were 18, or how did you get out?
Oh, yeah. So I had 2 attempts. So the first attempt
to escape.
Yeah. The first attempt is I actually went to Malaysia after I graduated high school, which most people who are queer would kind of have questions about that given some of the political stuff in Malaysia. But it was actually really eye-opening for me there and helped me kind of discover my identity as like a gay man and like what I stand for. So like, one of the things I did while I was there was I went and I volunteered with their local Pink Triangle, and like handed out like condoms and stuff. Oh my God, I'm sounding like such a nerd. But
you wanted to be like, you were trying to help stop the spread of AIDS.
Yeah. And it was actually also my first interaction with a trans woman. Like I had never encountered anyone who identified as non-binary or trans. Like I never encountered anyone of that type. I mean, really in identity, excuse me, identity. And, where I lived, grew up, everyone was white. Everyone was religious.
Yeah.
It was very same. And so it was really eye-opening for me to go to the Pink Triangle and meet these trans women, and often they were sex workers, and hearing about their experiences and the struggles and stuff that they've had, and AIDS was definitely a massive concern there. So it was kind of one of those things where I think I'd just gotten away from Kansas, and I was like, I'm gay.
And how did you hear about Malaysia? Like, what sparked your interest?
Oh God, the nerdiness is coming out. So I wanted to do like computer information systems type studies, but more focused on like business things.
So when you were saying straight people go into economics, I think we can agree that queers do too.
Oh, absolutely.
And so, I was just going to say, I think they're everywhere. But so you have this affinity. Yeah, you're a bit of, so you had an affinity for computers and business. And so tell me more. Yeah. I'm sorry I interrupted you, but I wanted to go back to that whole thing about like, whatever straight people do. I'm like, hang on a second.
Yeah. Sorry, y'all. I say some really weird things sometimes.
No, but I was just like, I knew where you were coming from, but I had to like, just so you know, I think there's some really queer economists out there. I don't know who they are, though.
Absolutely. I think almost all of my professors when I was in college, I think they were all queer. The econ professors.
Really?
Oh yeah, it was interesting.
So you went to college. So wait, you here's how I want to hear how you found out about Malaysia. So you were into computer science and with an emphasis in business or computer information systems.
Yeah, and I just wanted to get out of the United States, to be honest. Like it was like that was a goal for me.
What year would this be?
This was back so I graduated in 2007.
You graduated high school.
Yeah. So and kind of what happened at that time too is I ended up having, I guess you'd say like my first love experience. This is getting really intense here. I love this. But yeah, so there was this guy over there that I ended up meeting online because back in the day we were like the latchkey kids. It wasn't just outside of the home, it was also on the internet. Our parents fed us to the wolves.
Oh, really? Yeah, because there was so much going on that people didn't know about, right?
I know.
That you had access to. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And your parents were working.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, honestly, no fault of their own. Like, who would have guessed that, a 16-year-old kid who wasn't out was online talking with people who were way older than they should have been, chatting with me and things like that. Like,
to catch a predator.
Yeah, really.
Sort of. I don't know. Honestly, that gets complicated.
It does. Yeah. For me, it was more just about learning. It was trying to learn about something that I had no experience with firsthand. I had no gay people around me to like help me. I didn't have anyone saying like, it's okay to be the way that you are. It's okay. I didn't have that community. And so for me, the only place I could really go for that community, if it wasn't Logo, which is just a one-way conversation, it's online. And so I ended up meeting a guy through that. And then so it kind of like worked out well in that way that it was like, okay, I'm going to go for school and I'm going to go for love, And
yeah. So was he going to Malaysia or...
Oh, he was from Malaysia.
I see. With the internet, you could be anywhere. So was he in Malaysia when you started? Now, see how slow I am? A little bit slow. So I'm catching on.
I think it's a great question.
I'm catching on. And then, so here's a man in Malaysia, a Malaysian man. Mm-hmm. Somehow it's in a chat room. There were all those chat rooms or whatever. Yeah. And y'all are just having these conversations and you're like, I want to come meet you. And
yeah, absolutely. And so, he was my first everything really. Cause like, again, like I was not out. I was, like what happened with, Matthew Shepard, like that was really a thing that I was aware of, and it felt like something that could happen with me. Southwest Kansas and was it Laramie, Wyoming? Like, honestly, if you really want to, compare and contrast, there really isn't all that much that's different. And so for me, that was a real thing that I had in my mind. And so, yeah, I didn't, kiss anyone. I didn't hold anyone's hand. I didn't date anyone, nothing.
Certainly you didn't come out. Did you tell anyone ever, or did you have a confidant?
Like in the last, I think it was like the last maybe year or so in high school, I did come out to my closest friends, of course, my girls.
Yeah, your girlfriends, but you felt safe, like they won't tell, and that
hey,
you'll
Courtney
be okay.
And Cassie, hey,
hey, I'm so glad you had those girlfriends.
Yeah, they were wonderful to me, because I had been fighting so many battles with people, and they were actually kind of the ones that allowed me to breathe a little bit, where I didn't have to fight all the time. Because it was daily that I would hear things about, God hates fags, things like that type of rhetoric.
And then you're in Kansas, the king of, what's his name? The Topeka, Kansas guy. He has signs, his whole family.
The Westboro Baptist Church.
Yes, the Westboro Baptist Church.
Yeah.
What's his name? I forgot, but his family carries I have gone to protests. I dressed as Jesus back in the day, and I just shamed them like this. I just went,
I love this.
They were terrible. They really they'd go to funerals and, they were awful. But so you grew up with people that.
Absolutely. By the way, whenever we talk again, I'll tell you my Westboro Baptist Church story, because they came to my town at one point. So
here you are. You've got you've had this friend, and it sounds like for a long time you had a long-term internet connection with this person.
Yeah, it was about 2 years.
Yeah, so that's a substantial relationship, having not met him in person.
Yeah, that was someone that I was able to tell all the things that I could never tell anyone. As much as I love my girls, like they couldn't necessarily relate to my experience.
And you could explore like different things about sex that you were just like, can I really talk about this? And is this an okay thing to express? And
I had no idea that there was a concept of like a top and a bottom. That was something that I had it was not even a thing for me. And so like talking with this guy, I learned about these things, which is wild to me because of Malaysia has, I believe they're still there. They do have these like anti-gay laws or sodomy laws or whatever they call them. I think they still have them on the books, and
which we do in this country as well.
Accurate. I think they're still active in Kansas.
Unfortunately.
Yeah. I guess not enforced. But here was this guy in this other country that everybody was telling me, oh, third world country, they all live in huts and all this stuff. And here's this person that was educating me on, what the gay experience is, something that is very, especially for that time, it was very progressive. Maybe it's not so much these days, but at that point in time, it's very progressive. And that was because of the internet.
Wow. And then you actually did it. You actually packed up and you went to Malaysia. Is he in a big city or?
Yeah. So he lived in Kuala Lumpur. So I lived in the metro area for a hot minute. I just want to call us out because it's like, I love the name. So the station that I had to use to like go to school and stuff, it was called Titi Wangsa, and I just love that word. It sounds kind of dirty, but also kind of like sassy, and it's my favorite.
Titi Wangsa.
Yeah.
And so you went to college. You went to university in Malaysia.
Yeah, I was their first American student. I like everybody, which is kind of funny because I did not have money. Like one of the reasons why I went there was because you could get a degree in 3 years and it only cost about $9,000.
Wow.
Yes, but I was so poor, I still could not really afford that that degree. So I just kind of went on a prayer, like, okay, I think I'll try to figure this out. So I went there but everybody thought because of just like, I guess the stereotypes and things like that, like everybody thought I was rich. And so it was really weird having to have these conversations with people where I'm like, no, I'm not. I'm sorry.
I know the feeling. When I go to Nepal, they're just like, I should be able to support all of them. And I'm just like, you don't understand. I am in debt.
Yeah, financially, I was so strained that I actually had planned out what meals I was actually going to have in the week. And I don't mean like, oh, was I going to have spaghetti or pizza? I mean like, I'm eating lunch on this day and I'll have dinner the next day. Like that was my planning, because it got just the financial aspect of it. I couldn't make it work. And so I was doing that because I loved it there, by the way. I loved it there.
I want to hear more about Malaysia.
But yeah, I
got
really
the language?
Sick. Oh, Bahasa.
Bahasa? How do you say it?
Bahasa Malaysia.
Bahasa Malaysia. Did you speak the language?
I did. I mean, I did not speak it. I pick up little words here and there. Like I could order food.
But at the university, they spoke English?
Yeah. Yeah, they were.
Great.
It was like a sort of like a satellite school to like a British university type situation. So a lot of it was all taught in English.
What happened with this guy? So you went there and you met him in person.
Oh yeah, he broke my heart.
Oh.
Yeah, so things were going really well, and then I think it was kind of one of those things where it had taken so long that we hadn't been around each other, but there were 2 years of talking to this person, feeling like you know them inside and out, and building up all this excitement, and then you get to like this like climax and you want it to be more than what it is, and it doesn't meet expectation. And I think that's really what kind of caused the whole thing to fall apart, was because there were these expectations that had been built for 2 years. And so, yeah, it didn't work out.
Yeah, I think that makes sense. With long distance relationships, I think there's a lot of room for projection. Mm-hmm. So you're projecting all the, filling in all the gaps and thinking, maybe you're thinking this is your knight in shining armor, is going to whisk you away, take care of you, because he's older, he's wiser. Mm-hmm. I hear that song from Sound of Music, you are 16 going on 17, I'll take care of you.
That was gorgeous.
I'm working on my vocals. Isn't that funny that I let myself do that? I just let myself sing that as pretty as possible.
I mean, you took me there, and I didn't realize this, but that's a great song. It made me think like, oh, I too could have joined the Von Trapp family band.
Dude, I wanted to be that youngest daughter on that thing, and I think anyway, there's some fetishes in there that I could flesh out. But anyway, the captain with his whistle, I'm like, captain. Yes, captain. So, spank me, captain. I've been bad. Okay. So, but this guy, I mean, I literally went to New Zealand. I fell in love with a little captain, and I did. I mean, I just projected all this stuff, and it was such a disappointment in 3D. Like, he didn't have that same, whatever it was, same, like wanting to go walk into the sunset together for the rest of our lives kind of thing.
Yep.
Aw,
absolutely.
so that was your that must have been so hard after 2 years.
Oh, it was. I thought I was done. It's so, like looking back, it's so funny because at that point in time, I think I was like 19, and at 19 years old, I'm like, I have no chance with love.
But that is your 100% experience at that point.
Yeah.
That's why it is kind of like, that's too much power for one person to have when you're that young. And it's like you hand over like your heart to this person.
Absolutely.
That you don't know.
And with age, looking back, like, yeah, he was older than me, but he wasn't that much older than me. Like, if I was his age, I don't think I would have been able to handle that relationship from his end of things. Like, that's a lot of pressure.
Yeah.
And then you get this like hot mess white boy from Kansas who doesn't know anything.
Yeah, and you're out of your element. You don't have anyone but him. So it's like he needs to be everything to you. It is a lot. Like you said, I think I'm glad that you've got it in perspective. And you've probably nurtured your little baby heart. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, absolutely. No, I mean, no hard feelings at this point in time.
Do you still know this guy? Do you still communicate?
We had connected at one point. It wasn't like one of those connections oh, is there still something there? It was really more of a. It was kind of funny as he apologized to me because he said that he felt like he treated me really poorly and that I would have done anything for him, which I probably would have, but and he took advantage of that, I guess. So he actually came out and apologized to me. And so we kind of like mended fences there.
That's so healing. That's very healing for him to acknowledge it. And it sounds like he wasn't a complete asshole where, in other words, he didn't get you over there and kidnap you or something and, use you and throw you in the ocean. I guess it could have been worse. I mean, that's terrible to say. But, you were really vulnerable. Mm-hmm. You were very, very vulnerable. And
oh, yeah. If my parents knew about that, they would have
oh, my God.
Lost it.
Oh, they've been so worried.
Uh-huh.
They were probably worried as it was. You're the baby of the family and you go to Malaysia.
Absolutely. Yeah.
But you survived. Mm-hmm. And he didn't take complete advantage of you, although it always is tricky. Like I had a boyfriend when I was 16 who was 23. He was 23.
Okay.
And we were together for 2 years and he broke, whatever. But I mean, looking back on that, it could have been worse. Mm-hmm. Although, yeah, they do have too much power in that kind of situation. They do have too much power. And I think, I got to say it, I think people that do that are sort of, I don't know, assholes a little bit. I do think they're taking advantage of their position of power. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. I think it's, I mean,
that's judgy, but I guess it can sometimes be okay, but I can't imagine. Yeah. I just think I like equal relationships. Let me dream. I've never had one.
I think for me, what the thing that I always think about is how much do these two people have in common, really? I think as two people get older, that gap feels less gappy.
For sure. In fact, it could go the other way.
Exactly.
It could, yeah.
But I think for myself, in a lot of ways, like the age difference from a maturity standpoint probably actually wasn't necessarily the worst. I mean, if I saw someone else doing this, I'd be like, that's not good. But looking back on it myself, I was like, I was kind of a mature kid in a way. Like I wasn't like, I was always very independent and I've always had to take care of myself. And so in a lot of ways, I had been operating like, someone who was 18 when I was, 13. And
fair.
So,
yeah. And you're precocious. You're very smart. So it's like, you know what I mean? Yeah. Yeah, I know. Well, whether you use that intelligence is another thing. But I'm just saying, you did you can size things up and you probably did make it fairly calculated. You can't know what you can't know till you get over there. So
yeah,
but you got through that, and then you were all of a sudden you ended up staying there after you guys kind of broke up. Or?
No, so everything timed out all together. It was really weird. So I actually got sick. I got really sick, and it involved me actually having to get surgery. So weird fact about me is I'm very sensitive to cigarette smoke. And I discovered that while I was there. Because everybody smokes there. And so I started, my lungs were being restricted because my body's like, what is this? I can't handle it. And so, I ended up getting put on muscle relaxers. And so then I was missing class because I wasn't able to really focus because I didn't take a lot of medication. So when I took it, it was very impacting my ability to operate. And so it was kind of all this stuff was happening at the same time between me and him falling apart, my health, and then of course school. And so it was at that point where I'm like, I think I need to go back. And so I got what little money I had left and I used it to buy my plane tickets to get me back to Kansas. So Dorothy going back.
So that was what you meant by that was your first attempt. And then, but that was a big one. That was a big leap, man. That was a big leap of faith.
huge. I am glad
you
that I
learned
did
so
it.
much.
I'm glad that I did it. But yeah, it was a huge leap. The second time isn't as like sexy sounding. I mean, I did find my husband. So in that way it's
wonderful.
cute. But yeah, I was living in Liberal, Kansas. I was working there for a while.
Is it an ironic name or is it liberal?
Yes, it is absolutely ironic.
Okay, Liberal, Kansas. For Kansas, is it even liberal for Kansas by Kansas standards? Or, I mean,
Actually,
not compared to Lawrence. There's Lawrence, Kansas.
Oh, Lawrence is like the Boulder of Kansas.
That's the Boulder
Absolutely.
of Kansas. We should go through all the towns of Kansas. I'm curious about that. Goodland. Is it good? I don't know. I've driven across Kansas so many times. But so you went to Liberal. I interrupted, as I do.
Yeah. So again, met my husband online because again, at that point in time, you can't. There was nowhere to go. You couldn't go to like a gay club that didn't exist. You can't go out and be like, "Hi, are you gay?" The game of Battleship was very dangerous, and so. So we met each other online, and it was one of those things where he was living in Southeast Colorado because that's where he was from, and so we were about a 3-hour drive apart, so not actually too far from each other in that regard. And so it started to be one of those things where he would drive to me in Kansas, and then I would drive over to him in Colorado.
Oh, sweet.
And then at a certain point it was like, okay, this is working. We like each other. We can stand each other. Why don't I get out of Kansas? Please get me out.
And so this has been a long-term marriage, your partner. You say marriage, or do you call your husband?
He's my husband. Oh, yeah. We got married in 2015.
Oh.
Yeah, I think
I love happy endings.
In like gay years, I think that's like 2 lifetimes that we've been together.
Oh, congratulations.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, it was really sweet. I was shocked at it because that was also right around the time when like same-sex marriage, there was a lot of that stuff going through like the Supreme Court and whatnot.
Oh, right.
Yeah, and I want to say the decision was like validated like the day before our wedding. So that was actually like something that came up in our wedding. Like it was.
Ooh, I got goosebumps.
Yeah,
I did. I got truth chills on that. Like the universe supported your marriage. What?
Yeah. And
That's so cool.
I told my husband at the time, he probably doesn't even remember it because he doesn't remember half the craziness I say, but I remember this one. I told him, we're kind of the ones setting the tone to start it. So if this thing ends, we're failing the entire queer community.
A lot of pressure. The first marriage after the Supreme Court ruling. The next day.
Yeah.
And where did you get married? Here in Denver?
It was actually in Loveland. We got married at the Foot Lagoon Amphitheater. It was gorgeous. So they have this like little island in the water, and it was a public space, so it was super cheap, which was very important to me.
Oh yeah, well I know. I grew up with I put myself through college and all that stuff, and I still think frugally a lot of times. I'm trying to be more in the flow of money, I call it.
Yeah.
Because I used to do everything myself. Like, I can do this, I can do that. And then now I'm like, go ahead and pay somebody. Of course, I'm 63 years old. So I should be like, I can't open a jar. So that's what I was saying. I take testosterone as a non-binary person just so I can open my own jars again. But I have to hire someone. I have a 19-year-old son. So I do, like, he knows a certain tone in my voice. Come open a jar. I got to get the pickles.
Isn't that the point of kids, is to make them do things like that, really?
Yes. But I know we need to have... This is amazing. This has been a great conversation. And
I know.
thank you for... I know you're hungry. Same. this is what I live for. This is why I'm doing this podcast, even though I have technical stuff. I like connecting. And I like hearing. I want to hear your story. I also want to share it. Yeah. I think it's important that it's witnessed. That people out there who may or may not know, there's still people in Kansas, and I am not kidding you or exaggerating. When I came out on Evening at the Improv in 1994, before Ellen and Rosie, I say I paved the way for them. But I was there first. But really, the point of it is, I really did get this knowing that there was a girl in Kansas about to kill herself in high school, who knew she was a lesbian. And I mean it. It makes me want to cry. And I they need to see me, because I came out in every little town, even in Liberal, Kansas. I think I played Liberal, Kansas in the 90s. No, I'm trying to think of the name of the place, because I got a speeding ticket. I remember I used to play, there were these rooms in Kansas that we used to pay for $75. I would drive. And I would do my bit, but then I would, at the end, I would do this quick little coming out thing that I figured out a way to not alienate or once in a while I get threatened in a parking lot by some men that were pissed.
Of course.
They would just say, like, don't you know every man here has a gun in the back of their pickup or something like that. Yeah. And I was thinking, but not Jake, because Jake has his in his dad's display case.
Yeah.
But anyway, I do think it's so, like, we don't realize, like, right before we started recording, and I think I got sidetracked. There were 3 things I wanted to say, which was mainly I wanted to say I'm so happy for you. And I was curious about your family, if they came to your wedding or were included. But then I was going to button it up with something about it is super important to come out. Yeah. You know, even now in certain areas, it's still not easy for LGBTQ youth.
Yeah, it isn't. And, you know, the thing is that even in a small town like where I've come from, I know a lot of people these days, they see the progress that we've made. And there's absolutely progress. And on one hand, like, I'm a little salty about it. Like, I feel like these younger queer kids, I'm like, they don't know the struggle. But, like, honestly, at the same time, like you're talking about when you came out, and I know that was a different time than when I came out. And so, like, people like you coming out at that point in time, you paved the way for someone like me to find that within myself. I mean, I think you inspired Logo. That's my guess. And
that's it. I inspired Logo. Well, I'll tell you, man, but I was 32 when I came out to myself. I did not allow myself to even come out to myself until 32. That's how oppressive and repressive. And, well, I had a lesbian aunt who ran off with a nun.
Oh, wow.
And she divorced my uncle. She was an aunt by marriage. And she divorced they divorced, let's just say that. And then he got custody of the kids, even though severe alcoholic. But because she was a lesbian, she lost custody of her children in Missouri. And my dad facilitated that. And and everyone in my family just, when they just were like, what a horrible person this lesbian is. My grandmother cut her head out of the pictures and left them on display. My grandmother pulled the family photo of my Aunt Cindy, Uncle George, Jay and Josh, and cut Aunt Cindy's head out.
Wow.
Put it back in and left it on display.
Whoa.
Yeah, she will
that was
cut your head. Yeah, and she was my favorite person. And so it was like, there was a part of me that just didn't even go there. Like, even though my best friends, I hung out in theater, I played girls basketball, there were a lot of signs. I was a tomboy. There. I mean, I look the same as I do now without the jowls. And it's like, you know, like, my joke is I look a little like a cross between a lesbian and another lesbian. But I mean, point is, you came out to yourself. That is so brave. And then you honored yourself. And then you took the chance of going online kind of secretly, having this relationship. Yeah. And then you came out to some confidants where you could have gotten, you know, what Matthew Shepard got. And Laramie is a more progressive town than probably yours, because Laramie is a college town. But still, he did not survive it. So it is scary for kids.
It's why I'm so militant now.
That's right.
I love when I go to do my sets, like, I love dressing up and just being, like, as gay as I can be, because
yes,
the same thing you're talking about, there is this, little girl in Kansas who might be, killed. I was that little boy who, could have done that. And I want other people in Kansas and to see that you can be yourself, you can love yourself, you can celebrate the things that maybe everybody picked on you for. You can turn that into something that makes you feel better about yourself and really gives you almost a leg up. Because, like, those people that I grew up with, they didn't have to deal with that type of critique. They didn't have to deal with that type of constant feedback loop of just being told how bad you are. So as they get older, they're so soft. They're so soft. I'm going to be real sassy right now. They're snowflakes.
Yeah. They are the real snowflakes. I mean, that's the irony of it all.
It's why straight white men...
They don't know what it's like. They don't know how badass you are growing up in this little town in Kansas they don't know how badass that is.
It's exactly. And I think that's why a lot of straight white men, they're not great at taking feedback. It's because they never actually had to have that stuff really thrust in their face for, a majority of their life. And so that's something I had to do. And, I want to make sure that if there are any, gay kids out there, really not even just gay, because like honestly, I would love it if I could be able to even make someone who's feeling like non-binary, trans, all that, like if I can make them feel even just a little bit better about themselves, that makes me happy. Because
yes, we do. And also I feel like I love the growing up different in any way. Mm-hmm. It could be an LGBTQ. Absolutely. It could be feeling they teased you. Mm-hmm. I had this jacked eye, and tomboy ways that they made fun of all the time, and barked at me in high school, like you're ugly, like growing up feeling ugly. Ugh. And it's just, it's like that internalizes, and it's hard enough. Just like, I'm sure for typical kids, it's hard enough. Everybody has something. But when you have something that is not changeable about yourself, like maybe you're on the spectrum, or, even the ADHD stuff that we got in so much trouble for at school, when it's like, wait, when my son got tested, I asked the psychiatrist, I said, well, what's the other side of the coin? He said, oh, highly creative. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, why don't we just talk more about that? Okay, we're never going to go eat dinner. So would you, in closing?
Yeah, absolutely.
No, but did your parents or family come to your wedding?
Yes, they did. I'm not going to say they were there with bells on, but they did come.
I love the way you worded that. But, it was a lot that they came. Like they came, they showed up.
Yeah.
And the best that they could. They did their best. I don't know. Would you have rather them stayed home? Or would they have rather?
I'm glad you don't want to say there. That. I just wish they would have dialed back the drama.
Oh shit! Oh god. Okay,
Girl,
we got next time. I got to hear. Oh god. Okay. Again, we will. I want to visit with you some more. But we're gonna play your clip. I loved what you wore. I love that you put on the hat and what else did you have on? Like shoes. What did you have that was all sparkly?
I had a rainbow sequin jacket, hat, and matching high top shoes. Back in my home state of Kansas, the most popular dating app there is Farmers Only. Yeah, it has a bit of a reputation. And the thing with it is that it's actually filled with a bunch of dudes who went to Kansas State University, and they majored in bagging a bride to bring her back to the farm. I mean, as a woman on Farmers Only, it must be quite frustrating, right? Like, oh my God, I'm just gonna have to go see if Cousin Jeff is single,
Yes.
And and you'll see whenever this video decides it can upload that I literally sparkle.
And we were told no glitter at that theater, and I was like, woo. We dodged a bullet with that. There was only one person that came with glitter, and they got vacuumed and wiped down at the front door. No, they have a big rule there. No glitter. They were harshing our buzz. But but you didn't need it. You had sequins.
There were maybe a few stray sequins around, and someone saw it and was shaking their fist at me, I'm sure.
I'm gonna let you go to dinner. Sure. I'm gonna go to dinner. And thanks for all your work on the video and the audio, and for showing up and being vulnerable and authentic. And thanks so much, Jake.
Thank you. I can't thank you enough for allowing me to be a part of that show. I mean, even being able to record it felt like an honor. But being able to perform alongside, a whole cast of, queer people, it was magical for me. It was something that Jake, who was, 14 years old and looking at himself in the mirror and crying because he didn't want to be, that way, if that kid can look at, me now and see me with you guys and in my full gay glory, sequence and all on stage, I think that kid would have been more excited about what he saw in the mirror. And so I thank you for, giving me that opportunity to be that on stage and rewrite my narrative.
Beautiful. Well, it was meant to be. Yeah. All right. We're signing off from Traumedy Pride Edition. Thank you, Jake L.
Thank you, Nancy. You're wonderful. Talk again soon.
Yes. I want to thank my guest, Jake L. Thank you, Jake L. I appreciate you so much. We've spent hours and hours working on audio, and then I forgot to put the record button on, and we had to redo things, and it got very late. My phone died. I don't even know what time it is. My son's probably upstairs waiting on dinner, even though he makes his own dinner. He makes rice really well. I don't want to stereotype, but my son is Nepalese, and he makes a really good batch of rice. So he does not allow me to make the rice. I make the tofu and the greens and the vegetables, and he makes the rice. So we got to go eat. I hope you guys are having a good one. I want to thank my son, Nathaniel Norton, who makes the rice and the music. My son makes the music for Traumedy. He likes mixing things together. I'm Nancy Norton. Thanks for listening. Let me know how I can help. I love hearing from listeners who want to be on the podcast. Remember, no matter what, keep laughing. Oh yeah, every Tuesday, it's Traumedy Tuesday.